The rich and illustrious history of Blacks in America's journey from slavery to freedom are shining examples of perseverance, fortitude, and resilience.
We are the legacies of ancestors who have provided a blueprint for succeeding against all odds.
We are the generation that must understand the assignment that our ancestors left for us to carry out.
On February 22nd, the I'm a Star Foundation will host a fascinating Black History program entitled
Resilience, Tenacity, and Excellence, the components of our DNA.
Joining us will be two dynamic men who embody resilience, exude perseverance, and are dripping in excellence.
The Honorable Yusuf Salam, once known as a member of the Central Park Five, later known as a member of the Exonerated Five, and is now a member of the New York City Council, will share his insight.
One of Amistar's former students, Patrick Walker, who is currently a cast member in the hit television series Dog,
and has numerous show credits such as The Resident, will join in to talk about his journey from Jacksonville to Hollywood.
The rich and illustrious history of Blacks in America is a story of steadfast determination in the face of adversity. It is the story of our ancestors enduring unimaginable hardships to ensure that their children would have a brighter tomorrow. This notion of steadfast determination, resilience, tenacity, and hope are embedded in our DNA. Good morning. My name is Tiffany Powell, and I am a solution-oriented star, smart, talented, and resilient student destined to change the world.
As student leaders in the I'm a Star Foundation, we know that although we may be teenagers, one of our greatest assets is our resiliency, being able to bounce back and being able to get back up and keep it moving. My star colleagues and I are excited because we have the opportunity to interview two men who will show the definition of resiliency.
Seriously, we are very excited, and I know the listening audience is equally excited. So let me introduce our guests so everyone can hear their phenomenal stories. Mr. Patrick Walker is an American actor known for his diverse roles in television and film. He grew up right here in Jacksonville, Florida. And as a matter of fact, he is a former member of the I'm a Star Foundation. So he is one of us and was in the first I'm a Star cohort. Upon graduation, Mr. Walker pursued acting with determination and has a number of television credits. In 2023, he played Reverend Wakely in Lessons in Chemistry, Frank Willis in Gaslit 2022, and has a key role in the new hit television show Doc 2025. His other credits include The Resident, The Last Days of Ptolemy Gray, and Ambush. Mr. Walker's versatility and commitment have established him as a rising talent in the industry. Welcome, Mr. Walker. We can't wait to hear your phenomenal story.
in 1989, at the tender age of 15, which is the same age of many of our students in the Amistar Foundation, Dr. Yusuf Salam was tried and convicted in the Central Park jogger case, along with 4 other Black and Latino young men. The exonerated 5 spent 7 to 13 years behind bars for crimes that they did not commit until their sentences were overturned in 2002. Since then, they have received a multi-million-dollar settlement from the city of New York for its injustice and have been profiled in award-winning films, including the Central Park 5 documentary, and most recently, the Emmy award-winning Netflix limited series, When They See Us, written and directed by Ava DuVernay. Over the past 2 decades, Councilman Salam has become a family man, father, poet, activist, and inspirational speaker. He continues to utilize his platform to share his story with others and educate the public about the impact of mass incarceration and police brutality rooted in our justice system. His book, Better Not Bitter, is captivating and talks about the power of hope and living on purpose. In 2014, Councilman Salam was awarded an honorary doctorate, and in 2016, he was the recipient of a Lifetime Achievement Award from President Barack Obama. Welcome, Councilman Salam and Mr. Walker.
We also have joining us today another member of the former Central Park Five, now the exonerated Five. We have Mr. Raymond Santana. Welcome, Mr. Raymond Santana, also. So we know you'll join in with us. I'm going to turn it back over to the kids. They have the questions. All I do is sit here.
Councilman Salam, there are a lot of teens watching this platform this morning, and we have a burning question. You were only 15 years old when you found yourself in prison. So what in the world was going through your mind at age 15 when your life was immediately turned upside down?
Well, listen, I thank you for that question, because what was going through my mind was that my life was over, that I literally, that everything was destroyed, you know. Quickly though, what really transpired, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to make sure that Raymond Santana was here as well with us, was that they had split our trials in half. And so we were called the Central Park 7 at one time, and then the Central Park 6. And while we were the Central Park 6, they split our trials in half. And myself and Raymond Santana and Antoine McCray were the first three that were convicted for this heinous crime that we didn't commit. But after we were convicted, even though we were handcuffed, we held on to each other after they marched us into the back of that cell, the courthouse. And I got to tell you, man, to have that kind of support there with us from the beginning was tremendous. And it followed us to this day.
Mr. Santana, could you please share your perspective?
I mean, for us, we were 14 and 15-year-old kids, right? We were, we didn't know the system. And so at the end of the day, it was a process that was very overwhelming, that kind of went over our heads. And all we had was the strength of each other, which later on becomes the brotherhood. And so, this case is about criminal justice, but it's also about the youth, right? It's about what happens when the city starts to look at the youth, not just as children, but as a commodity, right? As a way to, to fluctuate the budgets for the prison system, right? Which later on becomes the pipeline, which later on becomes the target on all the children in the city, right? And so this case, it stretches not just the five of us, but beyond the five of us, right? To those who were around back then, who seen what happened to the five of us, who bear witness to it, day in and day out, and then to see us come out at the end and to see us, return in a different light as older gentlemen who now fight against the system, who fight against the system, to try to save the youth. And so, this has been a remarkable journey at the end of the day, but it all stems from just the power of the five of us collecting together as a brotherhood. That's definitely where it comes from.
I just want to add one thing, because, when Raymond said that this has been a remarkable journey, what's so amazing about this, we just getting started. Both of us turned 50, right? And so I'm literally going to be 51 in a few days on the 27th of February. Wow. And it's so wild just to, that mind-blowing reality, like, wow, here I am starting a whole brand new career as a councilman, standing up for the people who need it so much, who desperately need the voice of the voiceless. And the best thing about it is that we were the ones, Raymond and myself, who were not just in pain. We were close to the pain, we were in pain, and now we have a seat at the table.
Yeah.
So
So I noticed that you all continue to talk about a support system. May you talk more about why it's so important to have a support system, especially when you're going through what you went through?
wow, so what happened in 1989, the whole world, it felt like, turned against us.
And all we had was our parents and our siblings. And that's really that small nucleus of support was tremendous. But can you imagine, like, everywhere you go outside, if you're on bail or if you come home from prison, everybody is whispering, oh, that's them, the people who raped the Central Park jogger, and we didn't do it. And the image that you begin to develop, the valuation that you begin to inherit, you begin to almost see yourself as if you were born in error. And if you believe that, if you actually begin to have that become your reality, you start to move throughout your life as if you are a mistake. The beautiful thing about having a support system, though, is that you meet people who tell you often, you were born on purpose and with a purpose. God didn't make no mistakes. As a matter of fact, we know this because we've heard this all throughout all communities. God doesn't place more on you than you can bear. And realizing that reality tells you that this too is for the greater good. That pressure that was supposed to break us, that pressure that was supposed to turn us into monsters and animals, that pressure turned us into diamonds. And those diamonds can only be formed by pressure and by being altered. And the most amazing part about it too is that diamonds don't shine. Diamonds reflect the light. And we need more light. We need more of the ability for us to be the caretakers of tomorrow. The real fight, I've always said, is not against racism, although it looks like that in America. The real fight is against spiritual wickedness in high and low places. And the more we can attach ourselves to the light, the more value we add, not just to ourselves and to our families, but also as a result of that, to our communities and the cities at large, the nations at large, and really the world.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Walker, you are doing it and making I'm a Star proud. So tell us, what in the world was that journey like from Jacksonville to Hollywood?
Great question. First off, I just want to say what a privilege it is to be on a call with Mr. Santana and Dr. Salama. I remember when the breakdowns first came out for When They See Us. I auditioned to play to play the doctor here, and for one of the other characters. And I remember learning so much about their lives early. And my boy Jarrell got cast on the show, and Jarrell won the Emmy for that. So it was such an amazing, polarizing show, and just to even be here with both of them, knowing that like I've studied this man already before, and it's just interesting to go like, wow, I had his picture up in my house as I was doing research, getting ready to audition for the role, and now to just be on a Zoom with him is quite fantastic. But to answer your question, you said what in the world? What in the world got you? First off, God, a great family, and determination is what got me where I am today. I think that, I believe everybody there is in Jacksonville right now. So what's up, Duval? First off, yeah, I think that Jacksonville is a place where people could talk all about Duval County and what it is and what it's not. But one thing that it has is great heart. I think that everybody on this call, whether they're from Jacksonville or not from Jacksonville, we all have like big hearts, and we all have great, like Duval, it puts something inside of you. So with that thing that I have, with that thing that I was given by my pastor, my family, my friends who were close to me, I was able to get determination. I think with determination, you could do anything. From the I'm a Star program, just learning fundamental values that take you throughout life. And one of those principles being just not quitting. You know, it's just a key. You can do everything lies to me in numbers. I mean, acting is one of the hardest things to do, but I think partly it's mindset. Like if you believe it's one of the hardest things to do, then you'll go into it like, oh my gosh, it'll be hard. You know, like the doctor, he's in politics now. Like somebody would have like 20 years ago, that might have never been a possibility in his brain, but now look at what he's doing. So I think if you believe it for yourself, if the idea exists truly in you, and not to be, maybe others might not even see it, but if you believe that, like you heard that small voice in your ear saying, this is what I'm supposed to do, then you push for it and you believe in it until you achieve the thing that you want to achieve. That's something that Betty taught us, that my mama taught us, that God teaches us, that the Bible teaches us. So yeah.
Thank you. And
Can
what
I, can I, can I interject really quick?
in acting. So could you maybe give her any advice or tips ahead of her acting class?
Oh, sure. Go ahead, Mr. Raymond.
No, I'm just saying that I have to go because I have another engagement. And so I just wanted the opportunity to say thank you guys for having me. It's an honor to be here. Whenever we get a chance to sit in front of the children, because you guys are the cream, you're the most important part. At the end of the day, the platform was created that I believe the platform was created with us so that we can give back and we can inspire because you guys also inspire us. So I gotta go. So I just wanted to say I love you guys. I got some other things I need to do. You're in great hands with Yusuf and Patrick. So, wish you guys the best, and I'm pretty sure we'll reconnect some other time. All right, guys. So I just want to say I love you.
Thank you, Raymond.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, brother.
You already know.
Okay, Aiden, you want to ask that question again?
So one of my star colleagues, Mari Dawson, is actually interested in acting. So do you maybe have any advice or tips that you could give for her?
Yes, I do have some advice and I have some tips. I got plenty. So the first thing I would do is I would say study the craft. I think everybody in any field, they are great because of their great study. I think just focus on like what you want to do. Watch movies, like old movies, new movies, current things, old things, black and white, like all cinema. Try not to limit yourself to just, projects that you're interested in, but even open yourself up to like different kinds of projects, different like right now I'm big into Asian movies right now. I just love Asian cinema. So like expanding my horizon to learning about other kinds of film has been beneficial to me as an artist. So I would just say study the craft the best that you can, get on stage, do theater in any way possible, whether that's doing like, a local community play, a church play, or whatever kind of plays, just learn what you can and then go about that process, getting your headshots, getting some good photos of yourself and just getting a good package together that you can send out. But I mean, then you'll go get the agents and do the X, Y's, and Z's. But first thing I would do is I would just take time and really, really study. And hard work, like I said, it's super important because I have an acting coach of mine who says you don't know what hard work is. He says like if you have somebody who's been acting for 1 year, for example, somebody who's been acting for 5 years, their hard work looks different. So you have to like study under people who know what hard work actually is, because somebody could give you the wrong information. You could be over here studying how to be the wrong kind of actor. You could be learning the wrong techniques where for years and you're doing the wrong work. So it's about like doing real research to finding out like who, what kind of actor I want to be and what the right work is. And with that, I think you'll be good to go.
Did some advice that someone gave you really like help you during challenges and tough trials?
Yes, I'm going to be honest with you. I think that the advice from God was the best advice. And I heard a message one time that TD Jakes did, which greatly impacted my life, where he said the greatest enemy we have is inside of ourselves. It's the enemy in a me. So I learned that I am the only thing that's standing in my way. I am my greatest adversary. And if I myself can move out of the way, if I can help myself, then I can achieve the things that I want to achieve. And I think also just as a side part, like just even with your friends, like just being supportive to one another. I had great, like I said, a great family and great friends to just be supportive, whether they understood the vision or not. Like to just hear my grandmother say, "You're a smart cookie." It's like, that went a long way, because guess what? I'm a smart cookie today. So it's just like taking whatever encouragement you can from anywhere, I think is beneficial. But as long as you know what journey you're on and you listen for God's voice, that's all the advice you need.
My question is for both of you. As I'm a STAR students, at the start of every meeting, we have to stand up and give an affirmation of who we are. For example, my name is Kennedy and I am bold. Everyone in I'm a STAR has to give an affirmation. For instance, I'm going to call on Tiffany, Nathan, and Aiden so you all can get an idea of how we do it. Tiffany?
My name is Tiffany and I am resilient.
My name is Aiden and I am valuable.
My name is Nathan and I am brave.
Okay, You get the picture. So I need you to give me your affirmation and then tell me why you chose that affirmation.
See, we'll start with Mr. Salam.
We'll start.
Wow. My name is Yusuf, and I am my ancestors' wildest dream.
Why did you pick that affirmation?
I picked that affirmation because they want us to be our ancestors' wildest nightmare. In our communities, it's not just in Harlem, it's not just in Brooklyn, it's literally in every Black community, brown community you find all throughout, not just America, but all throughout the world. They make you believe that you were born a mistake. They make you believe that you have no value, you know? And in America, they make you believe that you're going to be dead or in jail before you reach the age of 21. Nobody I know has ever chose that for themselves. Like if they wrote down a plan for their life and said, you know what, 5-10 year plan, I'm gonna get the money, I'm gonna get the bag, I'm gonna do the great things. But you know what? By the time I'm 21, I think I want to be dead or at least in jail. I'm saying we got a choice. And the choice is that you have to know that you are your ancestors' wildest dreams. You have to know that in the great spirit of Sankofa, when you were being thought about in the ancestor world, which is yesteryear, you were thought about to be the ones who are going to break all the generational curses. That when people looked at you, they say, man, if that person can do it, I can do it. Putting the neighbor back in neighborhood so that we get the opportunity to experience each other and uplift each other. And also that we lift each other up as we climb to the top. That's really the most impactful thing that I've ever been mandated to do, knowing that you're your ancestors' wildest dreams and not your ancestors' wildest nightmare.
Thank you. And then, Mr. Patrick, what is your affirmation?
My affirmation might, I'm going to preface it before I say it. It's more on humility. So mine will be, my name is Patrick Walker and I am dust. I'm just dust. I think that in my industry, people often lift themselves up. Adam was made from the dust of the ground. So at the end of the day, I think it's important for us to remind ourselves to be humble and that you can go up, you can go down, you can be high, you can be low, but like in whatever way that God chooses to use me, he will use me. So I remind myself, because I know I'm great. I know those things. So for myself to stay humble and rooted and grounded, I remind myself that Patrick, you are nothing but dust.
And what made you pick that affirmation?
I just explained it because I'm nothing but dust. Just out of humility, that's why I said it.
Thank you. To keep on that same theme, I want to ask you, what keeps you up at night?
Doctor, please, I need to hear this from you. I got to hear this from you.
So,
well, I want to hear from both of you. What keeps you up?
Yeah. So I gotta tell you, when I was sworn into the council, I was extremely honored to be able to have the privilege to represent 190,000 people in my district. And then I was honored with the privilege of being the chair of the Public Safety Committee of New York City, the whole city. And I got to tell you, what keeps me up at night is trying to figure out how do we plan on the great chessboard of life to make sure that we get what we need. There has never been equality when it comes to budgets, when it comes to the resources, when it comes to the needs of our community. What we need is equity. And what that looks like is that sometimes some communities may need a little bit more. I know the ones that have been divested of, the ones that need to be poured into, the ones that need to be given the opportunity to hear even this talk that we're having today, right? Those communities, man, oh man, when I think about what we're up against, the fact that things like drill music is being given huge amounts of money for us to kill ourselves, for us to promote killing ourselves. And I got to figure out, well, how do we fix the problem? Because that's really what it's all about. When you think about legislation, when you think about the position that I'm in as a legislator, I think about how do we fix the problem legislatively? And sometimes it looks very different. It may look like we have to push from the other side so that we can get what we need. And what that push from the other side may be, it may be, hey, we need all Black people to get life insurance. Because if Black people are dying at huge numbers, the life insurance companies are going to start pushing back on those communities that are promoting violence, promoting death, because they're paying out too much money. And that's just one aspect, but there's so many other parts that I'm literally up at night trying to figure out. My God, my heart is never resting because there's so much to do.
Wow. Thank you. I've never thought about how you have to push your agenda to fight back from the agenda that we give ourselves. Mr. Walker, can you tell us what keeps you up at night?
First, that was an amazing answer he just gave. It's interesting because as he speaks, I'm learning myself. I'm learning to be more community focused. I'm learning to be more like what it takes to grow. I'm over here. I'm like, man, let me take my notes. But serious. There's multiple things that really keep me up at night. If I'm speaking on a personal level, I really do think about how I can like I don't want my mom to work, so that does keep me up at night. My mom and my dad, like I don't want them to go to work. So that does, in my mind, I'm like, oh, how much work can I do to help my family, to not even help them in just like, oh, hey, I'm gonna do this, but like I would love to work with my family. I have a goal of like my family all collectively working together in one empire. So that's on my mind, and also to go along with what Mr. Yusuf said, it's like I do think that the world is in such a negative place in terms of like our mindsets towards each other. You know, like the racism, the classism, there's wars. There's so much that's happening, and what keeps me up also is how can I be an example? Like how can I be effective in any way? Like I can try to influence other people to join the fight that I'm on, but it's like me alone. Like what is my job? What can I do? Like how can I spread light? How can I spread joy? How can I spread peace? How can I be an example? And I did a panel a few nights ago where we were talking about the like what Hollywood can do. And I was saying like, hey, to go and do a show and like the show I'm on now, Doc, is like, you have millions and millions of viewers, and those people come and they watch these interviews, or they see you on shows, or they see things that you say, or they see you on these stages. It's like the more that I can promote being a good, honest, upstanding Black man, it's like I think that in that, if I can just have one of you guys, like somebody your age, to hear the things that I'm saying, or they hear the things that Mr. Yusuf is saying, and to be affected by that. And if we can get millions more of little Yusufs running around, then like the world itself will be much better. So like I think about like how can I be effective just in any way to make the world a better place. Miss Betty used to talk about it often, like, oh, what can you do? What is your part in making the world a better place? That's what the Amistad Foundation. Oh, what can we do, like as individuals? As I wear that same red T-shirt, the red color shirt that y'all wearing right now. Like, okay, what can I do? Like, what is my part? I'm a star. Like, what does that mean to me? So, yes.
Thank you. And some of the things that keep me up at night is just simply from like a medical standpoint, like how does Black mental health affect what we do? So it's like I'm trying to constantly find solutions to help people that were just like me, because I went through my own struggles, and so we were able to go to the White House and give our own solutions. So things like that are things that keep me up at night as well.
You went to the White House?
Yes, we went. Yes, back in September, we went and spoke to the HHS, and then I was on a panel in the White House speaking on how Black youth mental health constantly affects what we do and how we do it. And I gave my own personal life experiences and was able to help find solutions to help students here in Duval County and all over the nation. And we were also trying to find ways to implement I'm a Star in other places as well, because we know that many other communities need group organizations just like I'm a Star.
There's a lot of people on this call who've been to the White House. Isn't that crazy? Like a lot of folks on this call have been, and I have not been to the White House yet, but I'm going. It's gonna be hey, all of us going to the White House.
We see you there.
Man, this has been a wonderful conversation. I have to say, Mr. Walker, you're an I'm a Star alumni. I'm jealous. You've experienced everything that Miss Betty Burney has had to offer to all of these students. And you were the first cohort. For us, Miss Burney does not mind calling on her stars to speak at the spur of the moment. She did that to me the first day I started I'm a Star. And in fact, a little personal experience from me, I'm extremely nervous when it comes to public speaking. I have severe anxiety. I get real shaky and it's just really bad. But over prolonged experiences with Miss Burney and working with her, she allowed me as well to speak at the White House on a national level to talk about Black youth mental health. So I want to hear from you. How was it when you were in the I'm a Star Foundation Leadership Program?
That's a good question. I think that I'm going to say this without getting emotional about it. I really love my mom. And I think that to know that like my mother and Mrs. Burney, that they really saw something in me was really special. You know, I think that when you have people around you that see things inside of you, like those things, they help you to propel forward. I think especially as a young man, we lived on Myrtle Avenue, and the environment that you're around isn't the prettiest necessarily, but when you have people who speak in your life positively, it has the ability you can see beyond where you are at that very moment. And I encourage that for all of you to just where you are now it is just a temporary thing. Like if you can see beyond, if we take Mr. Yusuf's story, like being in a cell for an extended amount of time, like you have to look beyond to see where he is now. And my question also to him is, did he see it then? But I'm like, it's important to have people who speak positively into your life for you to see further than what's in front of you. So I think that the I'm a Star program instilled principles that live in me today, and it gave me the ability and the confidence to be who I am now. So and Miss Burney has never ever talked negatively about me, has never said anything negative to me, has always spoken with a kind voice, with a kind spirit, which the moment that she said she wanted me to do this, I said, yes, it does not matter. I'm going to set in a few hours, but I told them, hey, you guys have to push my day back because I have to be here to speak to you guys today. Like it's important. So I think just having the voices and it was so many amazing people that are a part of the I'm a Star program that were so positive always, that I feel like we met in like a library or something like that. Miss Bernie, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, just like the group of people that we had and the games that we were able to play and the way that we were able to connect, those things made me who I am today. But the positivity from one person, you know, it can go a long mile. So it can go many miles. So I thank Miss Bernie for doing that for me. And I'm sure everybody and I see all these little red shirts. What's up, red shirts? I see all these red shirts all over the place. I'm sure you guys are in great hands and you'll be greater than me. So I am essentially jealous of you because come on, baby, you got a springboard.
All right.
Wow. Can everyone please turn their attention to the screen for a brief commercial regarding our upcoming youth-led mental health summit?
It is not what you think it is.
At age 11, I attempted suicide because I felt that I was alone
and wanted to end the pain of being depressed and unheard by my family.
Depression. It is not what you think it is.
It's probably in the hearts of the kindest and happiest person you know.
It sneaks up on them in their loneliest moments and leaves them feeling like an outsider to their own body.
Depression is a battle, but you don't have to fight it alone.
You are needed.
You are enough.
You are loved.
Youth mental health struggles are real, and the alarming rise in youth suicide is even more real. According to the World Health Organization, nearly 1 in 5 adolescents globally experiences a mental health disorder, and half of all mental health conditions begin by the age of 14.
Team leaders in the I'm a Star Foundation are inviting you to attend our youth-led mental health summit on March 28th at 5:30 p.m. The event will be held at the U.S. Health Jacksonville Science Building. Our goals are to build youth, resiliency, increase adults' awareness, and promote self-care.
We are all excited because this year's keynote speaker is Raw Andrews Jr. Esquire. The dynamic Mr. Andrews is the executive director of the prestigious American Psychiatric Association Foundation. He is uniquely qualified to provide information and strategic solutions to help with youth mental health and youth suicide prevention. This event is designed for both adults and teens. Looking forward to seeing you on March 28th at 5:30 p.m. You don't want to miss it. We will now return to our Black History program to gain more insights and inspiration from our phenomenal guest.
Welcome back, everyone. I am Miles McLaughlin, and we will now focus on our last segment with the new set of moderators. Councilman Salam, you also have the title of author attached to your credits. What was it like writing a book that made you relive some of the darkest moments of your life?
Wow, that question is a question that I think about often. How did I grow through what I had to go through? Because when people look at me today, they say, wow, your story is so amazing. But the truth of the matter is that all along, Patrick asked me the question, did I see myself while I was going through what I was going through, being in the position, or being, maybe not the position itself, but being able to bounce back, right? There were moments where I was doing things like learning meditation, meditating with my eyes wide open, figuring out how to will myself to continue to move forward. Because when you're in the belly of the beast, it is a place where, I never forget, this person wrote a poem, very succinct piece of poetry. And it said something like, how did it say? He said it ended up, and I'm forgetting the whole crux of it, but it ended up saying, if the life inside becomes stillborn, the womb becomes the tomb. And the womb of America is what has been turned into the belly of the beast. But how do we fix the belly of the beast to turn back into the womb of America, so that even if you stumble in life and you don't fall, right? I'm thinking about people who actually make mistakes, who find themselves behind bars because of something that they did do. Even if you fall or you stumble, what do you do in that moment to come back? Now, a person like myself who didn't do a crime, I had to learn things like, man, I gotta look at myself in the mirror. Every moment I heard something negative, whether it was from inside of myself or from outside of myself, one of the tricks, one of the skills, one of the keys, and maybe let's say keys, the key to open the door that I learned was that if you look at yourself in the mirror and you hold your gaze and you tell yourself the exact opposite, the most positive thing that you can tell yourself. If somebody's telling you you ugly, you tell yourself you're handsome, you're beautiful, you're pretty. Somebody tell you you're dumb. No, I'm the most intelligent. They haven't seen a person intelligent like me, but you got to tell yourself this often. 21 times they say is the secret formula. But the thing about writing this book, writing my memoir, Better Not Bitter, gave me the opportunity to revisit all of the things that I learned were the keys to open up the doors that were being shut or that were trying to be shut in my face. Those things that were trying to drag me into despair, into feeling devalued, into depression. And there were times where I was there. But in the times when I wasn't there, I wrote. And when the times where I was in those states, I reached over and read what I wrote in order to resuscitate the life back into me. And oftentimes it just takes that. Remembering who you are, remembering that you're your ancestors' wildest dreams, remembering that God didn't place more on you than you can bear. And then when you tell the world that, they also too have to remember everything will be all right. All they got to do is hold on.
Wow. The name of your book is Better Not Bitter. In 2025, teens get bitter for the smallest things. Like when someone writes a negative post on Instagram. After all that happened to you, how in the world could you not be bitter?
Mm. Well, nobody would be surprised if I was. But I got to tell you, bitterness is like a cancer. Dr. Maya Angelou said this. She said, bitterness is like a cancer. It eats upon the host. It doesn't do anything to the object of its displeasure. But then she teaches us a key. She gives us the keys. Use that anger. Dance it, march it, vote it. Do everything about it. I would say act it. I would say speak it. I would say that when I heard the words of Nelson Mandela, who said that he had to leave anger and bitterness inside of the prison because if he took it out with him, it would destroy him. These things, like, it's not until you taste it, if you realize, like, let's say somebody cut you off on the highway, right? And you're upset and you try to chase them down, but they in a Lamborghini or a Ferrari and you in a not so fast car. You just gonna be upset. And even if you catch them, what happens if you catch them and they say, I'm so sorry. My wife is giving birth in the back of the car and I'm just trying to get to the hospital. Perspective shifts things and causes you to be like, oh my goodness, I was upset for the wrong reason. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't some people who are trying to get people upset, but sometimes just you having your own twist on it allows you to climb out of that gutter that consumes you. And it really consumes you only. A moment can cause a lifetime of misery.
So, another one of my questions was, even for you now, I just don't know how you do it, how you are still not bitter. Even now, it's like you as a council person, it's so much to do. And I'm sure it always seems like it's adding up to so much more to do. I just don't know, how do you even deal with all of that on your plate? How do you even cope with all of that?
I think about purpose. I think about why I was born, right? We talked about the Bible earlier. Patrick gave the word, right? And I think about how my name in English is Joseph. And what happened to Joseph? Joseph was persecuted for a crime he didn't commit. That crime was rape. And he was placed in prison and he came out of the prison to be one of the great rulers of the land. I take instruction. That is beyond my planning. That's why I say, like, when I know that you're born on purpose and with a purpose, imagine me being upset at God for creating a situation, a circumstance, if you will, for me to come face to face with myself, for me to be a light in the darkness at the most needed time. Right now, in the highest office of the land, there's an individual who I have come face to face with for the past almost 36 years. Many would say this is my arch enemy, but I gotta tell you, this person does not think about me. So why should I give that person space in my mind and my heart? I need to think about our people and why. Why was it that I was allowed to survive with my mind intact? Why was it that I was allowed to be able to show up in the way that I'm showing up, especially today? I can't show up bitter. I got to show up better. I got to show people that you, just like me, every single one of us, when God created us, he didn't make a mistake. When he said be, he didn't say, okay, let me see and wait to see if they can get to the being. No, he said be, and here you are. And so we have to resonate with that. We have to vibrate with those higher levels, because I got to tell you, and I'm going to say this again, I said it a little earlier, the real fight is against spiritual wickedness in high and low places. That spiritual wickedness that's trying to get you to be angry, to get you to be bitter, to get you to be upset. Our fight is, how do we stay in the light? How do we continue to encourage ourselves? How do we continue to shine bright like a star? That's what it's all about. And guess what the stars do? They light the way in the darkness. When we think about the history that we didn't start from, but the history that they try to make us remember, they try to tell us that we began as slaves. We didn't begin as slaves. But when we were trying to get out of that despair, we were following things like the North Star. We were following the stars because guess what? Because we charted the way through the stars before. This is in our DNA. This is who we are.
That was just amazing. My name is Mari, and my questions are targeted towards you, Mr. Walker. So, as you
I'm sorry, before you go, I have to go. Unfortunately, I have another engagement as well. I'm about 19 minutes behind schedules. I'm so sorry. But I definitely want to participate again in these great talks with your organization, I'm a Star Foundation.
Councilman Salam, before you leave, I'm Betty Burney, and I just want to say to you that I wish I could put you in a bottle and sprinkle you all over America.
Wow.
Words that you imparted today not only helped my babies here, they helped me. They helped every adult who's in this room. They've helped Patrick, I can tell, and they're helping everyone who's listening on YouTube. When I tell you I've never pushed anything before, I'm pushing your book. I love your book. In fact, I got an excerpt from your book that I was going to read back to you that I love so much. But thank you. We will definitely be keeping in touch with you, because I would love if you would do a book chat with our teenagers in I'm a Star Foundation so that they can get some more of what you got. You are truly, truly the ancestors' greatest dream, because you are as resilient as anything I've ever seen in my life. Thank you.
Well, thank you all as well. And thank you, Miss Betty. I appreciate you.
Thank you, man. We appreciate you.
All right. Y'all have a great one. Thank you.
Have a nice day, everyone. I thank you. Bye-bye.
So, Mr.
Come
Walker,
on. Come on. It's just us, Duval. Come on.
and I can relate to you because I'm the actress my friend Aiden was talking about earlier.
Talk to me.
So, the title of today's Black History program is Resilience, Tenacity, and Excellence, the components of our DNA. Right now, for teens, including me, social media is everything. We gotta have that phone. But social media can also be detrimental to our mental health because of comments, not getting as many followers as we'd expect, or even just the constant comparison between us and other people. So tell us, how in the world can you still be excellent if people are trashing you on social media, or if people in your own industry are trashing you?
Look, let me be real with you. Let me be real. People are so bold behind the computer screen. I promise you, they are. Everybody can say whatever they want. I remember the other day I was looking at a comment about the show that I'm on, and it was from a profile, and normally the bad comments are from profiles with no picture on it. It just be something. It's just somebody random just at the house, just. So I just find that like none of that stuff actually matters. Like social media is not a real place. It is a place, as you guys know, where people put up their best pictures, their best highlights. I'm sure y'all put your little picture, throw a little filter on there, and like those things are cool, but it's not real, you know. And I think that it's important to understand what social media is for. It's great to connect with people. It's great to it's great to get jobs and do work, but I think if you know exactly what it's for, you can use it for the tool that it's meant for. Even me, I will use my Instagram or whatever the case may be during like right now during the season of my show, but it gets overwhelming. So I will delete the app from my phone. I don't use Twitter. I don't use Faith. I don't use those things unless I need to. So I pop in, then pop right out because it's just really bad. And what happens is, let's say it's the four of you guys right now, right? That are in this little square. One person is y'all all want the same thing. You post something, and then now she on the end, she's looking at your post, and now she's thinking about you and what you're doing. Now her in the middle, she thinking about what both of y'all doing because she online. Then my brother on the end, he looking at y'all. So everybody's kind of looking around, seeing what the other person is doing, and innately nobody's focused on what they're supposed to be doing, especially when everybody wants the same thing. It happens for actors all the time. We can all sit and go, oh, a group of us are reading for this role. Okay, let me look at him and see what he just finished working on. Oh, let me look at Patrick. Let me see if he done shooting that show that he's shooting. Man, that means nothing. So I think it's just important to just use it for what you need to use it for. And while you're younger, I would just advise to just get as far away from it as you possibly can. Use it for what you need it for and put that thing down. It just makes life a little bit easier.
When you were newer in your career, did the words affect you more than they do now? And if so, how did you build up your self-esteem to the point where you know your limits and how to take breaks from social media?
I can't even lie to you. It didn't. I think that again, like I said, like I have a very strong family, and I think the benefit of being a black man and being from Jacksonville, Florida, is that things don't really bother me as much. You know, like it wasn't my house wasn't necessarily about feelings more as it was about principles. You know, it is it is what does the word say? Move forward and just continue to move forward. So what I would say to other people, like other friends of mine who have a really hard time, who have anxiety and have real problems about social media, I just say like just separate yourself and know what the truth is. It is like what is the actual truth about any situation. That is the best way. If somebody online says something negative about something you're doing, well, what do I think? Do I think it's good? I'll give you a great example. I'll be real with y'all. So I just was in a magazine a few days ago, and it took me a long time to post a photo because I didn't like the photo that they chose. And I put it on my story, and so many people loved it, even though I didn't. And one person said something negative. But they were like, hey, you need to work out more, is what the dude said. And I was like, yeah, it's valid. I should be working out more. I've been working a lot. So his comment almost made me take that photo down, or like it almost made me delete the photo that I put up from a magazine. And I was like, you not in no magazine.
Yeah.
Like I'm like and I was honored as for something that was special and for an achievement that I had, and I had so many positive people, but that one person in my brain for a second, I was like, should I take this down? Then I was like, he ain't doing nothing. So I was like, his comment, his thought, his opinion, it did not matter. So I think it's just I knew what the truth was. I know that I liked it, my family liked it, my team liked it. So I was like, all right, we good. So I just knew what the truth was over the lies that other people may try to tell you.
Yeah. I can relate to that because sometimes I get so in my head about things, but then I remember I've been doing all of this good for so long, so one mistake shouldn't break all of that down. So in 2025, a lot of teens define excellence based on the way they look. How do you define excellence?
I define excellence by the way they look. That's crazy. Excellence by how you look. You can't even help it. Like so I mean that is horrible to define excellence by how you look. I define excellence by who you are and what you believe in. What are your moral values? What are your standards of living? Like, to know that you work hard. I will use my parents for a great example. They all are very hardworking. When I was young, my father moved to Atlanta, and I had another father too. That I have two amazing dads, right? So I have an amazing mom and two amazing fathers. And in that space, every single one of them work extremely hard. So all I know is hard work. I know that is excellence. Hard work is excellence. I know that Christ is excellent. I know that the example that he gave, the even when you read the Bible, it's just like watching all the different ways that you see Jesus. He's not just like this perfect, floating around, perfect, like angel guy. He's like definitely perfect, but you see him feel so many emotions. Jesus wept. Jesus was upset. Jesus was happy. Jesus was sad. Jesus experienced so many things. So it's like, I look at somebody like that and I go, oh, that is excellence. I want to learn how to control myself, how to be in the world, but not be a part of the world at the exact same time, and just like, what do you believe in? I think that like having great moral values is important because if I'm being honest, my generation, you guys' generation, but right below it, nobody has actual values. Everybody just like, hey, boy, I'm finna get the money. I'm finna get this. I'm finna do this. I'm finna do that. And I'm like, that means nothing. It means nothing. It means, I know a lot of rich people. It means nothing to have money and not have a family. I know so many you guys would be surprised. I know so many sad millionaires, so many of them who are so depressed, but it's like, that's because they have no moral value. So I would just say excellence is hard work, him, and just having great moral values.
Hello, Mr. Walker. I am Jainima, and my question to you is, of those three words in our theme, resilience, tenacity, and excellence, choose one of those three words, resilience, tenacity, and excellence, and talk to the teens on this platform about how our ancestors used that word as a life lesson and how you use that word as a life lesson as well.
Resilience, for sure. Tenacity was first, but resilience is the ability to push on. When we talk about ancestors, Dr. Salam spoke so well about it, but knowing where our people have come from they were resilient. When I think about the word resilience, it makes me think about immediately about Harriet Tubman, and that, like, you talk about resilience to get out, to go back, get others, and then to go out again and to keep going, like to develop, for them to develop a system like the Underground Railroad. That is resilience. It, like, when I think about Martin Luther King, that is resilience. Even if I go deeper, when you think about the mental state of Dr. King and a Malcolm X, like people who knew that there were people out to kill them. To kill them. That is to go, hey, I'm gonna get up tomorrow. I'm gonna put my suit on. I'm gonna get fresh. I'm gonna go in front of these people and I'm gonna keep speaking a good word. I'm gonna keep speaking about Black people and how amazing they are and all these things. I'm gonna keep trying to change things. And I think when it comes down to our ancestors, one thing that I've learned and one thing that I use is constantly knowing that everybody, the people before me, the shoulders that I stand on, all of them had the trait of resilience in common. And I know that I want to be positive here. I know that there are other people who don't have resilience because they may have been a bit more privileged in life. And if you're too privileged, that you may not have that little thing inside of you to push you forward if everything was given to you. So in the act of having to work hard, in the act of having to constantly pursue and break down barriers, it creates a strong mind for yourself, and that comes from everything that we've had to go through. My mom, when I was young, really quickly, my mom said to me, she was like, it's imperative for you to be better than me. She was like, you have to. She was like, it's my job to be better than my mom. It was my mom's job to be better than her mom. And it was like, it's everybody's job, like each new generation to be better. So it's like, if I look, I ain't gotta look too far back. If I look right to my mom, I'll go like, oh, like that is resilient. If I look to my father, I see what those things look like. And I know myself that, oh, I got a lot of work to do. And then my kid gonna have my kid's gonna have a hard time because we pushing. But it is important to continue to grow and to stay resilient.
Good evening, Mr. Walker. My name's Reagan. My question for you is, of all the characters you have played during your acting career, which one do you mostly relate to?
Ooh, I thought you were gonna say something else. I had an answer. I had an answer for the question I thought you was gonna ask. Whoa, man, I did a lot of interviews. Nobody ever asked that. Which one do I relate to the most? Oh, so I played a character on oh my goodness, that's a great question. And it's interesting because like right now I'm playing a doctor. I can relate to his heart, but he a doctor. He's smart. He's like he's been through a lot. Which one do I relate to? There's a character I played on the show called The Resident. His name is Micah. I relate to him the most. He was a believer. They even let me bring my own. They're in the show. I'm wearing like a cross necklace. I brought that myself. They let me bring like all the little things that he has. Those are all my own things. And he just really had great faith, and he knew that things would work out for him. And even when he got really sick and things were working in his favor, he was able to, I mean, it worked out for him. And I think that at the last minute it worked out. And I know God is similar to me in that way. Like when I feel really hard on myself, when I feel down, when things are working, he always will, right in the nick of time, he will provide the thing that I need. So I would definitely say that Micah is the one that I relate to. Micah, and also I did a show called Lessons in Chemistry. He's a reverend. So like his journey is also similar to mine in his thought and his nature. But Micah he's cool. He's the one I relate to the most.
Mr. Walker, we all know that youth mental health is real. How did you protect your mental health while you were on your way to the big screens?
How did I protect my mental health? That's these questions. Y'all got me like, how did I protect my mental health? How did I protect it? I'm gonna be honest. I think it's great to be the person who goes out and parties and all those things. That's just not me. I also find that the people I know who are out so much that they go through a lot. Like they have a really hard time. In Jacksonville, I think I may have stepped foot into maybe one club in Jacksonville, maybe one time, because I knew all of the people who I knew were there. They were dealing with so much. They smoking weed, they drank. It's like people who like when I was in high school, people smoking weed then. Like they now, like however many years later, are or smoke or were drinking then. They had just started drinking. So now a lot of my friends they're alcoholics now. But they started then. They when they smoke now, they smoke now, and like that black that come around your mouth when you smoke. You see these lips are pink, and like I think they're just I don't know. Oh, mental health. Yeah. So I think just staying out of the way and just remaining focused. I think that is the way I've been able to really protect my mental health. And I think in being focused, it's a really hard life. It's really challenging to stick to something. But I have a goal that's set, and God gave me very particular instruction as to how to get that done. And I think just remaining focused has been the way. And the only way when my mental health does get off, the gentleman before was talking about how he has severe anxiety. When I deal with moments where I get a bit anxious, I then can take that and I can understand where it's coming from, and I can talk to my family. I just started therapy. So it's like I could talk to a therapist about that and try to figure out ways to quickly get a handle on that and move forward. Where again, if I would have been out it'd be a lot of things I gotta worry about, a lot of things I gotta take care of. So, I'm just grateful that like staying focused and on the path that helped me a lot.
So, what encouraging words would you give to a teen in 2025?
I would say, ooh, what encouraging words would I give to a teen? What encouraging words would I give to little Patrick if he was in 2025? What age is this? Oh, a teen. Okay, cool. Cool. Let me see. I would say, as much as you want to be like everybody else, don't. As much as you think it's cool, it's not. Like it. I think the one benefit that I had is that I embraced the fact that I was different. I embraced the fact that I didn't move to everybody else's beat, and I credit that to God, and I credit that to my family, and what that little thing that God gave me. But I would just say it doesn't benefit. I can tell you now, all of y'all, I can tell you right now that everybody who I went to school with, again, they all look up to me. Every one of them. I was the class president. I was the prom king of the school. You did not find me in the clubs. You did not find me out. You did not find me. That's not what I was doing. So I think like people always look to somebody who is different. Like if people feel like that they are so much like you, they respect you, but it's always it's challenging and it's hard. But I would say stand out, be yourself, be excellent, because in that you will be the standard. You'll be the head, not the tail, like we're supposed to be. So all that stuff is cool. It's going to school with you could be fresh. Yeah, be fresh, be all those good things, but just be a good person, be nice. Like, and I would just say that drug stuff, if y'all can hear me, everybody listening, I would say stay as far away from drugs as you can. Alcohol, like stay away from that stuff, because it does get worse. Like I know so many alcoholics now. I'm 32. I just turned 32, and like there are people who are dealing with that. And I talk to them, I'm like, where did it start? Man, I started when I was like 16. I started when I was 17, 18. I started when I was in school. I was at a party. And I'm like, okay. It gets harder down the line. So I would just say, be you, stand out, and just do your thug thizzle, man. Do your thing.
All right, JJ.
Do your thing, twin. Do your thing, twin.
For teens, there are so many times where we hear the word no. Sometimes, no matter how hard we try, we just can't seem to get those grades to be the best. Sometimes it seems like everything is going wrong in life. A lot of adults think that it is easy for us because we are kids. But this is a different world from when our parents were teens. How hard is it to be tenacious?
I think that is based off the person. I think, what was your name again, Mama?
Jainima?
Janima. Janima, if you today decide that life is not going to be hard, I think you got a great chance at it. I decided very early that people say acting so hard. I said, it's going to be piece of cake, easy. And I believe that, and acting has not been the hardest journey for me like it has for other people. Now, I forgot the question that you asked. I'm just going to ask you to recap it for me one more time.
How hard is it to be tenacious?
In life, in general.
Yes.
Yeah, for me, it is not the hardest, because that is all that I know. That's why I think that it starts where you are now. Like if you develop the habits now, then it won't be hard later. I know people who were lazy then, they lazy now. So if you learn those things now, or if you follow through with those things now, it's important. It's something as simple as, like, we had chores to do. My dad would say, hey, these are the chores you do every Saturday. I'm not gonna lie to you, I did not do all them chores. I tried. There were times where I did them, times where I didn't. But I found that when I did the chores early, that it helped to, when I got ahead of it myself, then it made life easier, instead of waiting for him to tell me, hey, get to them chores. Now I'm like, I'm playing the game, I gotta go do some chores. Like when I did it myself early on, it helped. So I would just develop those habits of being tenacious now, because it will affect your mindset moving forward. Because all you guys are future millionaires, are you future billionaires. And in that, tenacity is a requirement of a billionaire, unless somebody just give it to you. Unless hey, But we ain't gonna go there today. Be tenacious.
So we know that life is all about choices. The choices we make today can impact us 10 years down the line, positively or negatively. And I know a lot of people use the phrase, I understand the ancestors' assignment, but hey, as we close out, please take a moment to share what you feel is one of the ancestors' assignments for us and how our choices can help us carry out or fumble the assignment.
Recap that question for me one more time, just so I can think about it.
So, please take a moment to share what you feel is one of the ancestors' assignments for us and how our choices can help us carry out or fumble the assignment.
I would think, just as my mother told me, that it is an assignment to be better than the generation before you. So, how do you carry that out? I want to say what I got to say. I just don't want it to come out the wrong way. So, one thing that I used to envy was the fact that I knew friends who weren't the same skin color and they were much further ahead. Like their families they had a house in their name, or they had this, or they had these big things, or they had all this to acquire. So all they had to do was, oh, my dad has $1 million business. Oh, he's gonna step down, so now I'm gonna take over $1 million business. Or oh, I have this, or oh, I have that. Like the inheritance that was left. Now we know that when slaves were after I believe the Emancipation Proclamation, slaves were supposed to get the 40 acres and a mule, and that was promised to every slave, and we did not receive that. So with that, we don't have as much to hand down. So a lot of us don't have as much to hand down. And in that, I think that it is all of our jobs, everyone, to just be able to hand down more than what you were given. I think that is our job, to continue to build this thing. As much as, like, I'm taking the time now to learn about investments, money, and also building a house. The house I grew up in on Myrtle Avenue on 12th Street, that house was built by I think my great uncle or something like that. And I'm like, oh, he built something that lasted through generations that I years later came up in, and I was able to grow up in for, I think, 16 and a half, 17 years of my life. That house is where I lived, and that house is still there today. So the thing that he built, it will go forward. So now I'm like, okay, he built one house. All right, we're gonna keep that house. Now it is my job to go, okay, let me find some land. I'm gonna buy this whole neighborhood. I'm gonna buy this whole, I'm gonna buy this entire, I'm gonna buy all of this. I'm gonna buy this whole city. I want to make it big for myself. I'm gonna buy this whole city. Now my family, now our families, we have access to the city. So I have done my job. When I'm going, if the best I could do was get a city for my family, cool, I've done that. Now my kid gotta go and be like, all right, I'm gonna buy me 2 cities. That's his job now. His job is to go and do more, his or her job, well, whoever my beautiful kids, when they come, it is their job to do more. So I would say that our ancestors, our responsibility would be to do more, to be better, and it's our job to do just that. It's just like getting on the bus. Like when I went to school, I think it was my mom or something. My grandma. My grandma used to say, "Boy, don't you sit at the back of that bus? You sit at the front of that bus." I mean, I was like, "Hi, grandma." I did not sit at the front of that. I did. I sat at the front of the bus in the beginning. Then I was like, "Man, the cool kids in the back, man. The cool kids in the back." So that was a joke there. But I would just say, listen and be better. Do your best.
I'd just like to say that this was such an amazing time with you and when Councilman Salam was here. Speaking for myself, I learned from Councilman Salam when he was here that we always have a support system. You are born with a purpose, and you are your ancestors' wildest dreams. And from Mr. Walker, I've learned that determination is key, and that you should kind of let God guide your way throughout where He wants you to go. On behalf of the students in the I'm a Star Foundation, I would sincerely like to thank you, Mr. Walker, and Councilman Salam for the wisdom and for sharing your thoughts with us. The both of you are role models who truly make our ancestors proud. I hope that you will keep in touch with us, you and Councilman Salam. We will now welcome Amistar's CEO to the platform, Ms. Betty Burney.
Hello, everyone. I firmly believe, no, in fact, I actually know that our ancestors are smiling today because 3 of their descendants passed down the components of their DNA: resilience, tenacity, and excellence. We saw that in the form of Councilman Salam. We saw that in the form of Mr. Santana, and we actually right now see it in the form of Patrick Walker. Those 3 tenets are vital. They were essential to our ancestors' survival, and they are vital to our young people as we prepare them to become global leaders of excellence. I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to both Mr. Walker, see, I called you Mr. Walker, to Mr. Walker, Councilman Salam, and Mr. Santana for taking the time to speak with our students and help them understand that they can accomplish anything that they set their minds to. But even more, thank you for being the stand-up men who are positive role models. I am so proud of you, Patrick. I just want to take a few minutes to tell everybody a little bit about my Patrick Walker. Yeah, I see you leaning up because you know I got some.
Come on.
He was, of course, a former member of the I'm a Star Foundation, and now he's an actor in a hit series. Am I proud of you or what? I watched Doc when I was going through after my surgery. What got me through was watching you on The Resident. Yeah, that's my Patrick. I'm so proud of you. But your success, Patrick, comes as no surprise to me at all. For those of you watching, let me tell you, when he was a student in the Amistar Foundation 15 years ago, look how long ago that was, we would have teams in order to create the teamwork and the synergy, and every team had to come up with the leader for their team, and they had to have a name. Well, they came up with names. Let me read to you some of the names that the others had. Duval Dynasty, of course, because we were in Duval. The Intelligence, Earth, Wind, and Fire, Vector for Success. Patrick was the president of his team, and the name of the team was Jesus Kids. Patrick, you came up with that, I know. And
I did.
Yes, that is the name of our team. It is Jesus Kids. So when we would have competitions and it was time for me to announce the winner, Patrick would always blurt out, Miss Bernie, there's no need. Jesus always wins. So Jesus Kids will win. I knew then, right then and there, who you were going to become. So tenacity, resilience, all of that, it is in your DNA. And you're always winning. You're still winning. And although Councilman Youssef had to leave, I wrote down something that I wanted to say for him. I told him before he left that I wish we could sprinkle him all over. That man has so much to offer this world, not just New York and not just the United States, this world with all that he has. But he has a book, and the book is entitled Better, Not Bitter. But there's a page in there that I read often. In fact, I have it highlighted in here, and I just want to read it to you, just read an excerpt before I close. It says, I could have decided that because the system had railroaded me, stolen years of my life, I would simply give up on trying to live up to the title of master that my grandmother gave me. But choice often indicates what happens next. To choose life in the midst of opposition gives you a chance at living. Choosing death in the midst of that same opposition only ensures death. Both are painful. Both require the kinds of shifts in mindset that are often hard in today's society. But I believe that there comes a time when the pain of remaining the same is far greater than the pain of trying to do something different. And that's when transformation actually happens. The one thing we have power over is how much learning we decide to take on. Those were the words in that book. It is a must read. I also want to give kudos and hand claps to my stars who are the moderators today. Yay. They were Mari Dawson, Kennedy Larkins, Reagan Lee, Miles McLaughlin, Nathan Nesbitt, Janima Filial, Tiffany Power, and Aiden Wright. As always, you guys were phenomenal. I also want to thank all of my solution-oriented middle and high school stars who are watching from the next room. I love you guys. Special thanks to the I'm a Star staff and parents, and extra special thanks to Councilman Youssef's staff, my brother Larry Seabrook for helping me to get with Mr. Youssef, and Miss Nikki Michaud, who is Patrick's mom, for helping us coordinate getting our guests. Please mark your calendars for our Youth-Led Mental Health Summit and our Leader to Leader Summit scheduled for March 28th and March 29th. We will send information out at another time. Thanks again, everyone. And remember, our ancestors are expecting us, the adults. Our ancestors are expecting us, the adults, to motivate, educate, inspire, and lead the next generation to unleash their inner greatness. Good day, everyone. And Patrick Walker, I love you to life.
Love you too. I appreciate you. This is so fun. Thank you.
Thank you. Good day, everyone.